मी देवेंद्र गंगाधरराव फडणवीस ईश्वर साक्ष शपथ घेतो की कायद्याद्वारे स्थापित झाले आहे अशा भारतीय संविधानाबद्दल मी खरी श्रद्धा व निष्ठा बाळगीन. मी भारताची सार्वभौमता व एकात्मता उन्नत राखीन. मी महाराष्ट्र राज्याचा मुख्यमंत्री म्हणून माझी कामे निष्ठापूर्वक व शुद्ध बुद्धीने पार पाडीन आणि संविधान व कायदा यानुसार सर्व तऱ्हेच्या लोकांना मी निर्भयपणे व निस्पृहपणे तसेच कोणाच्याही विषयी ममत्व भाव मी देवेंद्र गंगाधरराव फडणवीस ईश्वर साक्ष शपथ घेतो की महाराष्ट्र राज्याचा मुख्यमंत्री म्हणून माझ्या विचारार्थ आणली जाईल किंवा मला ज्ञात होईल अशी कोणतीही बाब असा मुख्यमंत्री म्हणून माझी कामे यथायोग्य पार पाडण्यासाठी आवश्यक असेल ते खेरीज करून एरवी मी कोणत्याही व्यक्तीला किंवा व्यक्तींना प्रत्यक्षपणे व अप्रत्यक्षपणे कळवणार नाही किंवा त्यांच्याकडे उघड करणार नाही.
An absolutely spectacular event for the first time, a swearing-in ceremony at the Wankhede Stadium. I want to take you across live now to Rahul Kaval, who was there at the Wankhede Stadium during the ceremony. This level of spectacle, this level of, event management is something that people have, come to expect. Rahul, from the BJP, no less, what happened today, 40,000 people. I saw your tweets just a moment ago about how several leaders had to in fact leave because of the huge crowds and the surging jostling that happened. What was it like being there? People will have to cut the BJP some slack today. It's a historic day, their first chief minister in the state.
Shiv, I was here at the Wankhede Stadium for the World Cup finals. India versus Sri Lanka. The loudest applause forever at the Wankhede has been reserved for Sachin Tendulkar. It's almost his divine right. But today, when Narendra Modi walked down that aisle to the stage at the Wankhede Stadium, the applause almost equaled the kind of applause, the kind of entry, the kind of welcome that Sachin Tendulkar used to receive here. Everyone was up on their feet, clapping, shouting, cheering for the man they believed helped realize Atal Bihari Vajpayee's dream. This is very important, very significant in the BJP pantheon because it was after splitting from the Janata Party in 1980 at a national convention here in Mumbai that former Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee had declared that may the lotus bloom along the Arabian Sea.
Yes.
That dream being fulfilled today, very significant for the BJP. There were several big moments. There was Sajjan Jiddal, a whole host of businessmen who were coming in, Shiv, who got swamped by the enthusiasm of the BJP worker. What was rather interesting was virtually everyone who came, from whichever part of Maharashtra they came, were holding VVIP cards. VIP cards or VVIP cards.
Yeah.
There was almost 30,000 VIPs in some sense. All of them wanting to come in, get as close to Narendra Modi. Let there be no doubt about it. Narendra Modi was the center of the attraction.
Yeah.
Devendra Fadnavis, who was being sworn in, he was the man of the match. But the man they all wanted to see was Narendra Modi, and that was the level of enthusiasm that all the VIPs got crushed. There were several industrialists, businessmen, Bollywood stars who came, all of whom got edged out because of the enthusiasm of the crowds. Shiv, after this big ceremony at the Wankhede Stadium got over, we had an opportunity to speak to several of the very important people who came here. And there were several ministers who took oath today, but the loudest applause amongst them all was reserved for Pankaja Munde. There's a very emotional moment that we caught where Pankaja hugged her sisters, their mother, they broke down. There was a moment of emotion, there was a moment of remembrance of Gopinath Munde and his role in making this dream possible. So what we'll do is we'll begin this broadcast by getting our viewers excerpts from an interview we recorded with Pankaja Munde. She doesn't know what minister she will be just yet, but she's very happy that her father's dream is finally being fulfilled. Joining us now is the one minister who received the warmest round of applause. सबसे ज़्यादा तालियां तभी बजी जब आपने शपथ ग्रहण की.
जी, ये बहुत सारा प्यार जनता ने दिया. मैं उनका बहुत-बहुत शुक्रिया अदा करना चाहती हूँ.
It's a big moment for you as well.
Yeah, it's a big moment, but on top of big loss, I'm missing my dad like anything today.
At a time when you've just been sworn in as a minister, what is it that you hope to be able to do over the next time?
all those warm, that round of applause I got, I want to live up to that.
Okay, tell us, how do you see this government being different from the previous government?
Of course, it will be different from the previous government. This government will, of course, fulfill all the agendas what we have given for another 5 years, and we are working on that right away.
Have you been told yet what your cabinet ministry is going to be?
Not yet.
What are you hoping that you will get? Have you raised any expectations or demands about what you want?
Not really. Whatever they give me, I'll accept it.
Okay, and how is it going to be for you to work with Devendra Fadnavis?
I have been working with him for last 5 years, and he's always been my guru in my Vidhan Sabha. So whenever I used to talk on any issue, I used to show him all my points, and I used to eat his head. I'm talking this, that. He used to say, whatever you say, you will deliver the best. And after my speech, he used to come and he used to what? You always trouble me and you always deliver the best. So this time he was always my leader in the assembly. Now he'll be my leader.
What have you learned from Devendra Fadnavis?
Patience.
Thank you very much, Pankaj. We wish you all the best. Thank you.
The level of respect that Devendra Fadnavis seems to enjoy amongst BJP workers, especially the younger workers, the younger leaders, also those in the RSS, is quite immense. He's known to be scholarly, hardworking, very intense, very well prepared, very earnest and honest. Now, if he can keep all those qualities going and stick to the task, then people in Maharashtra hope he can bring in a new and better future. The highest hopes, of course, are at home. And I caught up with Amrita Fadnavis. She's Devendra Fadnavis' wife. She's wearing a dazzling new sari, beaming as she sat right next to Devendra Fadnavis while he took oath. It's a big moment for the Fadnavis family, of course. They've had a fairly simple, fairly middle-class upbringing, not too many political neta-like airs around them, so far at least. That might change, of course, with the Chief Minister's chair coming in, let's see. But Amrita Fadnavis was delighted, and we caught up with her. And this is what she had to say about how she sees her husband change, or how she hopes her husband won't change now that he's got the hot seat at the Mantralaya.
Joining us now is Mrs. Fadnavis, Amrita Fadnavis. Thank you, ma'am. You're wearing a lovely sari. Big moment for you. You were beaming when the swearing-in ceremony was happening, right?
Yeah, it's a very, in fact, it's a proud moment, but more than happiness or any other feeling, it's a feeling of responsibility. People and top leaders have put in a lot of faith in Devendra Fadnavis ji, so he has to stand by that faith and make many things happen in Maharashtra.
Okay, what would you like the Chief Minister's first responsibility to be?
There are a list of things which need immediate attention. It is corruption eradication. Even farmers' death jo ho rahi hai, he has to have a plan of action and implementation on that. Unemployment part. And other than that, women's issues, the security issues there, he has to look into that also, the whole team.
How has Fadnavis साहब changed since it was announced that he will be Chief Minister? क्या बदलाव देख रहे हैं आप अपने पति जब ये आप announce हुआ कि वो Chief Minister बनेंगे?
No, he has always been the same, very responsible from day one. So there's not much change in that.
How do you see your role as the First Lady?
I see my role into more of social activities, and I would definitely go ahead into anything where I'm socially required or I feel I should be there.
As a working middle class woman, आपके हिसाब से क्या सबसे बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है जिसको फिक्स करने की जरूरत है महाराष्ट्र?
Definitely corruption.
आपको लग रहा है कि बहुत टेंशन वाली नौकरी मिल गई? Your life will never be the same again?
No, I'm in fact happy for the love and all which I'm getting from people.
Thank you very much for joining us.
That's Amrita Fadnavis. She works with Axis Bank. She's seeking a transfer from Nagpur to Mumbai. Says she wishes to continue working, even though she's now the Chief Minister's wife and in some senses the First Lady of Maharashtra. The entire Fadnavis family was here. We also caught up with the Chachi. All of them delighted with the fact that Devendra Fadnavis has been made the Chief Minister. They believe that his inexperience will not go against him. Most chief ministers have had wives who've stayed behind the curtains, especially BJP chief ministers. Amrita Fadnavis could well turn out to be the exception. She's firm-willed, she's got a public profile. She could be quite different from the other BJP chief ministers' wives that we've seen so far. Anyway, that's a story we'll track later. The big challenge, of course, now for the Fadnavis government is to try and rectify the many problems that confront the state. One of the biggest problems is electricity supply. We caught up with Power Minister Piyush Goyal, who says that since the time the new team found out that they were going to get ministerial berths, they're already hounding him to try and help solve the electricity problem of Maharashtra. What are the BJP's plans when it comes to the civic problems that this state confronts, and also especially Mumbai, which is frankly an urban nightmare? Here is Union Power Minister Piyush Goyal, who also comes from Mumbai, talking about how the Narendra Modi government will work very closely with the new BJP government in the state to help Maharashtra become better than Gujarat.
Joining us now, Union Power Minister Piyush Goyal. How do you see, Piyush, the equation between the centre and the state work? Now they've got Devendra Fadnavis as Chief Minister here.
Well, in my opinion, every state should work in coordination with the centre, irrespective of political affiliation. But obviously, having a government of the same political party and the thinking being aligned will make it much easier for us to reach the people all the benefits of the schemes that Sri Narendra Modi has initiated, and we shall be initiating in the days to come.
As we travelled through Maharashtra on the election express in the build-up to the assembly elections, we found that there's a huge power crisis. Given how rich and industrial this state is, a power crisis is the last thing Maharashtra should face. How do you intend to fix that?
I see no problem in fixing the problem as long as the people cooperate, the state government, and certainly this government is so sensitive to this issue that the day the Honorable Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis went to meet the governor, soon after getting the letter, the invitation letter from the governor, 5 of the senior leaders who have been sworn in today mobbed me and discussed with me what we shall do to solve
Even before they became minister.
On the day they got the invitation from the governor in Governor House, we sat in the conference room and the only subject of discussion was that the priority of this government is going to be to satisfy the aspiration of the people of Maharashtra, bring back the industrialization that was the glory of Maharashtra all these years. And I'm convinced that this team is honest, this team is committed to the welfare of the people of Maharashtra, and this team will deliver.
Do you have a timeline? People want timeline. They've got huge expectations. By how soon do you think Maharashtra will have 24-hour electricity?
Well, we'll have to study the deep mess that has been...
You've had enough time since May.
Yes, but do you know, I've been telling the Chief Minister of this erstwhile Chief Minister that I want to come and pay a courtesy call till the day of Ganpati Visarjan, when they first saw the power crisis aggravating after they failed to resolve their disputes with the power producers. Till that day, I did not get an audience with the erstwhile Chief Minister.
How many times did you ask?
Many times. Every time I would come to Bombay, I'd made it a ritual. But this is not a day to do politics. I think it's a day for fresh beginning. We have Devendra Fadnavis, a very enthusiastic young man at the helm of affairs, a person who's committed to the service of the people. And I'm fairly confident that given the alignment that all of us are working with and the sincerity of purpose of this new government, it should take us about 9 months, 12 months, and we should be able to resolve some of these pressing.
Some would say Fadnavis is too inexperienced to be chief minister. You were a first-time minister yourself. Do you think this argument holds that he has no administrative experience in government?
You know, when we had a crisis in my factory 25 years ago, we sent my 16-year-old nephew to roam around the factory, and he came up with some of the most brilliant solutions to the problem. It's not about experience, it's about sincerity, it's about honesty of purpose. And I think Devendra, given his performance in the Legislative Council and then the Assembly of the last 15 years, has distinguished himself by his scholarly performance, by his integrity. I'm convinced he'll make a wonderful Chief Minister.
One final question. Mumbai is an urban mess. How do you see the new government in Maharashtra try and make Mumbai at least a Delhi, if not a Shanghai?
Well, we'll do far better than Delhi. I think Prime Minister Narendra Modi, when he came to Mumbai, flagged off some of the pressing requirements of Mumbai. He talked about the Trans-Harbour link, he talked about the sea link being extended, he talked about bringing back to Mumbai good roads, good infrastructure on drainage, on sewage, on water. I'm quite sure that should the Mumbai Municipal Corporation work in tandem with the state government, I see no problem in also making sure that Mumbaikars get a good government, a government that delivers.
Thank you very much. Wish you all the best. Thank you.
That was Piyush Goyal speaking exclusively to Headlines Today. This, of course, now is a big challenge because expectations are soaring and the Narendra Modi Fadnavis duo must show that not just can they make the promises, they can also deliver them. For the longest time, all through the past 24 hours, it was felt that the Shiv Sena will not be part of the swearing-in ceremony. Uddhav Thackeray had said that he will not be going, neither will representatives from the Shiv Sena. But when he landed this afternoon, BJP President Amit Shah spoke to Uddhav Thackeray, invited him to come to attend the ceremony. Then there was a big debate in the Shiv Sena. Should he go? Should he not go? Should someone go? Then finally it was decided that Uddhav Thackeray should come himself, because if he doesn't come, it will be perceived as if the Shiv Sena once again is being arrogant and is not accepting the overture of the BJP. But what does this mean for the relationship between the BJP and the Shiv Sena, which is soured since the 15th of October, even more than earlier, because the BJP and the Shiv Sena haven't been able to come to any agreement yet. I caught up with the all-important BJP General Secretary Om Mathur. He's the one who's been working behind the scenes to try and patch together the alliance. That, of course, didn't happen. And then also try and work on how the cabinets will be allocated between the BJP and the Shiv Sena. Here is Amit Shah's key man, Om Mathur, speaking exclusively to the India Today group.
देखिए, हमने पहले दिन से कहा था कि शिवसेना हमारा नेचुरल अलायंस है। चुनावी युद्ध में कई तरह की भाषाएं बोली जाती है, लेकिन हमारे नेता ने एक लाइन अडॉप्ट की थी कि हम कोई कुछ भी नहीं बोलेंगे। हमारा किसी नेता ने नहीं बोला, और कल तक भी हम चाहते थे कि वो आए, अभी भी हम आगे भी चाहेंगे कि जो हमारा नेचुरल अलायंस है वो हमारे साथ जुड़े। अब ये निर्णय शिवसेना को करना है। आज आदरणीय उद्धव ठाकरे जी आए, हमें भी प्रसन्नता है। पहली बार महाराष्ट्र कांग्रेस मुक्त हुआ है, तो स्वाभाविक रूप से सबको प्रसन्नता आए। हम उनका तहे दिल से स्वागत करते हैं, उनका आभार भी मानते हैं।
No, but that was Om Mathur. There is no clarity just yet on what portfolios will be offered to the Shiv Sena, whether the Shiv Sena at all will be part of this government. That still needs to be thrashed out, and people in the Shiv Sena, as they were going out, were concerned whether or not this will ultimately work out in a manner in which the Shiv Sena doesn't feel that what is being offered is frankly embarrassing. Behind us, attempts now being made to clear up the Wankhede stadium. Things are winding down over here. There's a huge litter. Lots of bottles strewn around. But what was interesting also was that leaders like Rajiv Pratap Rudy, the BJP General Secretary, who's also been in charge of coordinating the Maharashtra election, actually going out, picking up these bottles themselves in the spirit of Narendra Modi's Swachh Bharat campaign. Picking up these bottles, they've got some laser machines, they told us, which will ensure that the Wankhede is completely cleaned out, that there isn't a single bottle or any garbage lying around once the organizers have left this event. Of course, let's hope that they actually live up to that promise, because this is, of course, one of India's most iconic cricket grounds and also one of the luckiest for India. This is where we wrap up our special coverage live from the Wankhede Stadium. We'll be back at 10 p.m. tonight with a special edition of Centre Stage on the big swearing-in ceremony, a cabinet meeting just getting over at the Mantralaya, the first cabinet meeting of the new Fadnavis government, where a right to service has been passed. What exactly does right to service constitute? What does the Fadnavis government intend to do? We'll get you all the answers when we see you again at 10 p.m. tonight, live from Nariman Point, right here on Headlines Today. We slip into a break. News and updates continue when we come back on the other side. Thank you for being with us.